Hello, I'm Dr. Roger Elmer, Advanced Neuro-Spinal Solutions and the Build a Brain program. And I'm here to talk today about the brain laser. Very interesting use of technology. This is the Avant, and it's the LZ30. It's very exciting because it not only includes a red laser, but it also includes violet, which the wavelength of violet has a great impact on infections and that. But the concept of laser is that we're using the science of quantum mechanics, where everything vibrates at a certain frequency. Every element vibrates at a certain frequency, and that's quantum mechanics. And we know the frequencies of different areas of the body, including specific areas within the brain. And we know how that frequency determines how well it's functioning. Like, let's say we take in your frontal lobe, we say that frontal lobe needs to be operated at a certain frequency. Well, there are many different areas within the frontal lobe, and each one of those has its own frequency. And so with the laser, we can use the wavelength of laser to penetrate deep into the brain and to introduce that frequency that area of the brain should be operating at. So when we do that, any of the cells that are not operating at that level, who are couch potato nerves, we're going to step up their game. We're going to increase their metabolism. We're going to cause their mitochondria to operate at a higher level. So we're turning it up. And so, and when you know what areas of the brain are and what they do, what behaviors they create, then you can say, all right, now I'm going to hit a very specific area in the brain. And the area like Brodmann's area 9 has to do with social behaviors. It also has to do with the ability for you to read faces, communicate, and to deal with social situations with ease. And so if I wanted to hit that area, Brodmann's area 9, I could aim the laser at that area where Brodmann's area 9 is. And the exciting thing about this laser is it incorporates the latest technology. When I say the latest, this is cutting edge technology, to where we can actually use our understanding of developmental anatomy. When you say you should be developing at a certain level as a child, and we know basically what those levels are and what is developing at that time. And because we know that, if something isn't developing like it should, we know it needs help, but we also know what's going to compensate for that. So on the other side of the brain, we're going to have stuff that's operating way too high. Well, this now incorporates the technology where I can actually dial down using the laser. It used to be that I could only dial things up. Now I can go in, a child is at 5 years old, and I can pick that level of development, and they have autism, and I can go, we know that the left side is going to be running way too hot and the right side is too weak, and we know the areas that should be developing at that time, so we can be selective to drive down the areas before I even start to do the other laser therapy. I'm going to be turning down the appropriate areas that are going to be running too hot, and then I can go over to the right side of the brain and turn those areas up. And each area has its own frequency. And so this thing is like the bloody edge of Dr. Melillo. If you ever heard of Dr. Melillo, Disconnected Kids, he's written all kinds of books, including a major textbook that is used throughout the industry. He's one of the major players in what's called Autism 1, which those are the premier researchers for autism on the planet. if your doctor is taking care of your kids and he's never heard of autism 1 and he claims to be an expert, he's not. So anyway, so this laser allows me to turn things up and occasionally when I need to turn things down. Very exciting.
Start with your name all over again, like it's a whole new thing.
Disorders. Oh, I didn't even go through how.
Well, that's okay. It's a whole new post, so that's perfect.
Okay.
What we use a brain laser for? Dr. Elmer here, and this is what we use it for.
Hello, I'm Dr. Roger Elmer, and this is the Avant LZ30 laser. It incorporates laser technology. It's a red and violet, which is a unique combination. That wavelength we use to introduce frequency to increase the activity of cells within the body, but in this case, almost 100% I use it on the brain. I can target areas on the brain, and it can penetrate deeply within the brain, and we can step things up. Some of the things that I use it for are conditions, Parkinson's. I use it for MS. I use it for the dystonia. I do a fair bit of dystonia work, and I can turn things up, and I can actually turn things down when things are running too hot. I've used it for seizure disorders, which things are running too hot, so I can turn it down with this. In fact, this is the newest technology. It used to be that we could only turn things up. Now we know the frequencies that it can actually dial things down if they're running too hot. How often? I normally am doing the laser on patients 2 to 3 times a week, and we're extending the times that we're taking care of them, determined by what we're trying to accomplish. And so if we're starting to see some results, we continue for a while, and then when we see that behavior, come online, then we stop. So